Everybody, make some noise. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
I was like, what? I was like, what? All right, everyone. Welcome back to Ticket to Anywhere podcast. Happy 2021. My co-hosts and I are still recording remotely. So, we're glad 2020 is over. It was a lot of change for us. We're excited we kept Ticket to Anywhere going throughout it. But today is an episode that we wanted to share. I know we're like a half a month later, but we wanted to share all the things that we learned in essentially our first year of podcasting, which was all of 2020 and all of last year since we released on January 15th. So today is 6 things we learned about podcasting and about travel. So we're combining the two.
Probably like a little unconventional because, we had to deal with a pandemic. But if anything, it just like opened our eyes to how much traveling and this podcast meant to us, for us to keep going at it and adjusting and adapting to like all the different like obstacles that we had to go through. Like seriously, Leah, props to you, because without you, I would have just been like, F this. Catch us on streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Pocket Casts. And if you need a reminder, we're also a visual podcast on YouTube. So subscribe to our channel, Ticket number 2 Anywhere Podcast.
Right. And we're super active on the social medias, on the interwebs, if you don't already know. So that's how you can get at us. Instagram and Facebook, we're Ticket to Anywhere Podcast. You can drop us a line, tell us how you liked one of our episodes, share it with a friend. We're on Twitter, T2A Podcast, and of course on TikTok at Ticket number 2 Anywhere. And of course, Trizzy and I are both on social media, so we will drop our handles on the screen and in the show notes, and you can reach out to us anytime. We love talking to all of y'all. So we're gonna get into it. 6 things we've learned.
Bring it on.
Past year and in 2020. Okay, so I'll kick it off. Number 1, really easy: consistency over perfection. If you're worried about starting something, getting it perfect, and putting it out there, you're never going to get it done. You're never going to start. You're never going to launch, to be honest. And how many people actually put out a perfect product or service or website or whatever their first time? Do you think Kobe came in the game and played his best game, the very first game he played in the NBA? No. So it's that consistency that you need to get better. Habits, building a habit, forming those skills, practicing. And, we did the best we could. We were recording for 3 months prior to releasing because we wanted to do a little Netflix drop on y'all. And so you could binge. So we came out with 3 episodes, and we came out with a lot of content and trying to get our brand straight, what we wanted to represent, what we wanted to look like. But, with the pandemic, we kind of fell off things. We got sidetracked. We had to worry about jobs. We had to worry about finances a little bit, but we're back on track now. We have our footing. And so there were a few months where we said we were going to put out an episode 5 months ago, and it came 5 months later. But nothing's normal in a global pandemic. So consistency over perfection. I understand last year was a very hard year to be consistent, but now that we know how to work through, I think we can be a lot more consistent moving forward. And we're excited to do that.
Yeah. And lots of props to you, Leah, again, because you really taught me consistency over perfection. For me, I don't like to post photos unless I've like done my editing and stuff like that. But I'm just like to the point where it's kind of like, why are you doing that? Yes, I'm sharpening my skills, but at the same time, I don't want to lose followers. I don't want to lose, people's attention. So consistency over perfection. Wow people with how active you are on the gram, on Facebook, on TikTok. And I do more of like the content side, but Leah, girl, you are handling like 50 accounts.
I really am. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
yourself too. So
I'm handling other social media accounts. I'm like, oh my goodness. But the thing is, the more consistent you are, the more you do a thing, you pick up a piece of perfection every time you do that thing repeatedly. So yes. I'm going to use basketball, your favorite sport, and Kobe again, because he's the greatest.
Yes.
you know, every game he picked something out of that game that was like, I'm going to improve on that. And eventually he started playing all his perfect games. It could have been years down the line though. Maybe he didn't get as good as he wanted to be until 5 years down the line, you know, I don't know.
Yep.
So the more you do it, you'll pick out little nuggets and be like, oh, this is how I'm going to improve. This is how I'm going to be better for the next time. Right.
Yep.
One quote I love is like exactly. One quote I love is the only person I'm trying to be better than is the person I was yesterday. It's a little bit cheesy. It's a little bit woo woo, but I still love it.
Woo woo.
I love it. And one thing I learned, being on the back end of things where setting up the releases and all the episode, I'm just like, man, I wish what we had done was cushion enough time for like the first episode to really do like a trial and error of when does it really release. Because if you're a new small podcast like we are, we need more like verification. Spotify is not going to trust us. They're going to be like, oh, these bots or whatever. And especially with Apple, they take longer to kind of like verify that you are a legit person who's trying to do a podcast. So one thing we did kind of scramble on our first episode drop was, oh my gosh, where's our episode? Basically, we were like, we're launching January 15th, 2020, but January 15th, 2020 came and we're just like, we're not on Spotify, we're not on Apple, we're not on Google.
So, and I was in the Philippines, like yes, I was 17 hours ahead, and I was like, oh my God, I can't even, I'm pretty sure I was scuba dive. I was learning to scuba dive when the episode dropped.
Yeah.
Like
you're talking to the turtle. You're like, turtle, my episode isn't on Spotify.
I was like 10 meters underwater learning how to scuba dive when you dropped the episodes.
That's true. That's facts right there. But seriously, people, like, give yourself enough time to kind of just make sure that the episode is up. And I know we all like to do like the promotion and the directing, like go here, go there, follow us now. I would say just hold off on that. You could say follow us when we drop our first episode or something like that. Tease us a little bit. Be like, we're having a podcast, but don't tell people what platform you're using it. Obviously, Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, they're all like the big podcast platforms. But you could upload your episode, let's say 3-5 days in advance. Listen it on your own and just determine like, okay, I hear a little buzzing in there, so maybe I got to clean it up. So it gives you more time to kind of like edit the audio file if you want to. Re-upload it. You still have X amount of days before your actual launch date. And that way, when January 15th, 2020 does come, you go onto Spotify and you see an episode that you promised people or you promoted to people. So that was like, that was a scramble for us.
yeah, it was. It reminds me of just like allowing for traffic, especially in LA. Those of you that don't live in LA, maybe you don't got to worry about it. But like you're trying to get from the suburbs to the middle of LA, it's going to take you an hour and a half minimum. So you got to, and then that doesn't include like an accident. So it's allowing time for mistakes, allowing time for reroutes, like allowing time for that stuff. For those of you that don't know, actually, all of our episodes are edited in-house by Trizzy. Y'all, she is our one and only producer. We don't outsource. Her production value is chef's kiss. So
Leah's about to take my job though, because all her TikTok edits. Oh, she's about to take my job.
I'm just editing on TikTok. It's too easy. I can't even. I don't know what a Photoshop layer is. Y'all know what a Photoshop layer is? Drop it in the comments. I'm learning. But yes, Trizzy, big ups to you for being our editor. Love your work. And everyone else does too. I'm so excited every time we get an episode. I'm like, damn girl. And she turns them around so quick, but that's what an editor does. And I'm just like, how? I work on one TikTok video for 45 minutes.
It's tough. It is tough, especially with like another with a full-time job, and you're just trying to balance everything out. But Ticket to Anywhere has been more of a priority for me than my actual job.
Yeah.
I just have so much more passion when I'm editing it. But
yeah,
I have to
creative
say, Leah,
juices.
your analogies of things are like on point today. First you started with the
Yes,
Kobe,
thank
and then now you're saying like
you.
the LA traffic. High
I'm not.
expectations for the other topics.
These are kind of easy concepts, but I will be honest, for a lot of things, I need people to break them down into like layman's terms for me. Like relate, that's how, you want to meet people where they're at, right? If they don't understand, if they can't relate to you because they only care about traveling and not podcasting, you got to bring it down to a level where like, okay, let's relate this to some everyday life, sports, traffic, commuting, etc. So anyways, so my second learning is, man, the haters are always going to hate. And I know we've been told this for 3 decades of our life, but they're always going to be there. Even when we were imagining this podcast in October 2019, that's when Trizzy and I got together and we like conceived it.
Yep.
Sounds weird. We were ideating and talking about it for months. And I went and told all the people I trusted, people I cared about, people whose opinions I trust. Man, I will tell you word for word. I literally got, oh, so you're starting a YouTube channel. I'm like, it's a visual podcast. It's a little different. They're like, just call it a YouTube channel. That's what it is. I got that. And then I also got, well, how is this different from anyone else's? Why is it's the same as what everyone else is doing? 1 million people have done this. I'm not even kidding. I got that. And then I got, when we dropped and then we went into lockdown in March, I got, wow, what a time to start a travel podcast, huh? And I will not lie to you guys. It broke my freaking heart every time. I was angry. I was sad. And Trizzy knows, like, I felt like we weren't getting the support we needed or wanted from some folks. And the truth is, you just got to find your audience. That's what it all comes down to. Find your right audience. Exactly. But man, in the beginning, to be vulnerable and be like, we're going to start this project. We're going to put our heart and soul into it. This is our hobby. This is our passion, right? And for people to not even consider it and slap you away like a fly, I cried on the inside. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. And I'm different a year later because seeing what we've done and what we've created and the response to it makes me really happy knowing that we're putting this out there. But haters going to hate, you guys. So if you are not harming people, you're not harming yourself, and you're doing good things that you're passionate about, go out there and do them. Because as I've heard from many a business coach, many a life coach, no one has the same voice that you have, whether it be blogging, whether it be life coaching, whether it be podcasting. Like, no one has the exact same experiences. And we're lucky because travel podcasting is a very small niche. There's not a lot. Actually, whenever I tell people we have a travel podcast, they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's not true crime. Because true crime is what propelled like podcasting, right?
Hell yeah.
But it's very different for us, and I like that. But we still got negative response in the beginning. It's different now, but man, when we first started, I was like, shit, should we even do this? Like, everyone's telling me it's just a YouTube channel. Everyone's telling me what makes it different from other people's stuff. Right. So just do you. Someone's going to love your voice out there. And I came into this project with Trizzy with one goal. If we can inspire or change one person, and then we have done our work. We have done our job. And we're still going strong a year later. So
still going strong.
That's all to you guys.
Yeah. Still like
sometimes when we get new followers, they're just like, oh my gosh, your Philippines episode really inspired me. Your Thailand episode, like, oh my gosh, I want to move to South America or Australia. And it's just like, oh, thank you for sitting for like 40 minutes to an hour and a half to listen to us. Like, we don't just talk and talk. We try to give our experiences and then make that into like a tip and advice. Like, you take it or you leave it,
So
we kind of like to, in our episodes, especially our destination focus ones, like, set your expectations. This is what we experienced. This is how we did it. Now you could do this exact same thing, or you could do it your own way, but these are some of the ways you can do it. And since you and I travel very differently, It's cool because you get to see one side that's a little bit more, if you have maybe a little less time, but a lot more money, then, I just makes me sound like super poor. I'm not poor. I just like to travel like I'm kind of broke, like a bougie backpacker. I'm a self-proclaimed bougie backpacker. So, and if you're trying to be on a super budget, but you may have more time, then, I can put that advice out there. But we started this because we have two different perspectives, which we absolutely love and we know people can benefit from. So.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So another thing that I've learned, you don't have to go far to feel like you're on vacation.
Amen.
So,
amen.
Yes.
But I love that for you, like far isn't the only vacation.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of, everyone was experiencing that in 2020 and we're still in a lockdown. We're still in a pandemic. People are not traveling even more. Yeah, the year has changed, but it's not like we're traveling even more, probably traveling even less.
Yeah.
Because numbers are rising, especially in California. So, far isn't the only vacation. And that is the basis behind our name as well. And we had a lot of thought when coming up with what should we call ourselves? What do we represent? We think traveling is a mindset, to be honest. Like you can go explore different parts of your little, small, tiny town that you've never been to and find wonder and awe. Find wonder and awe in those places. Being out in the fresh air, being amongst others, or being by yourself. That's your ticket right there, your ticket to anywhere. Yeah. And one of our, taglines, our slogans, our mottos is adventuring from anywhere, because we're very, very lucky, very blessed to live in LA. It's a huge town, huge city. And in Southern California, where we're close to the mountains, we're close to wine country, we're close to the beach, we're close to the desert, like every terrain you can imagine here. So we are very blessed and lucky to live in such a big metropolis, but adventuring from anywhere, that's what we want to represent. Far isn't the only vacation, like you said. Travel is a mindset. Find joy in the little things in life. You can get away from your state, get away from where you are all the time. That's a release. That's a relief.
Yeah. Oh, beautifully said, Leah.
We decided to send each other our 3 things before we started recording to see what they would be. And then our third thing from each of us matched up. So we're going to talk about this together. If you want to go ahead and introduce it, Trizzy. This is our last thing.
Do not take travel or adventuring for granted, because the time is now. And I've never felt that until we got locked down. I'm like, whoa. I'm glad I got to go to Thailand a few months before the lockdown. I'm glad we got to go to Vegas.
Yes.
Right before it.
You guys, we went to Vegas February, the last weekend of February. Like we fully knew about the pandemic and we did not know the serious of it. Serious. We did not know the seriousness of the pandemic. And we were in Vegas the last weekend of February of 2020.
Yeah. And then lockdown, 2 weeks later?
2 weeks later.
Exactly.
And this is a big... Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just saying, I got to see a different side of Vegas when I was there. Like, the downtown area, I usually stay in the Strip. That's, the spot. But we stayed in downtown, and we had only booked, only one night or 2 nights or something? One night. Me, Leah, and I was like, you know what? I want to spend another night in downtown. So we extended it. And then not only just the downtown area, I got to see the Red Rocks. An outdoor side of Vegas. And just another thing, if you live in Vegas, you guys have options, beautiful options.
So,
yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is a big thing that's going on in the travel communities now, this thought of the time is now, do it now. So I also host events for the Nomadic Network. If y'all aren't part of it, I encourage you to join it. We have a few events a week, awesome speakers that come in and they're free. You get to learn, you get to network, connect. It's so much fun. This is a big sentiment going around the travel communities that the time is now. Like I went in 2016, I did a year-long backpacking trip in South America. Then right away moved to Australia on a working holiday visa for 2017 and half of 2018. And look at 3 years later, we're in a lockdown. Imagine if I had planned to go last year and then all my dreams were crushed. And I think it shows the importance of, because I've done big trips prepared and I've done big trips unprepared. So I always push, be prepared. If you're going to quit your job and go somewhere, do it in a smart way. I encourage you to do that. If your job's making you miserable and you're not happy with your life and you're crying every day at work, I know people like this, you know, quit your job, but be smart about it. Have things lined up or have money saved up. Come up with a skeleton of a plan. You don't have to have every single thing figured out. You know, you figure it out as you go along. Yeah. But last year, all these dreams that people have of traveling the world and quit, you know, working remotely or living in a van, like a lot of this stuff couldn't happen for us travelers, for those who wanted to take a year-long backpacking trip or whatnot, because people were worried about money all of a sudden. Yeah. People were losing jobs. So the smart thing probably would have been, you know, don't quit your job in the middle of a pandemic, especially if you can't fly anywhere. So, you know, life is short, as they all say. You never know what's going to happen. We don't know how long we're going to be in a lockdown. Yes, we have a vaccine now. We don't know the side effects, long-term effects of it yet. And they're just in the very early stages, giving it to first responders and people on the front lines, healthcare workers. But we could be in a pandemic, in a lockdown, in a quarantine for the next 2 years, 3 years. We don't know. And we are both very grateful that we got to spend so much of our life prior to this traveling. And now we can share our experiences on this podcast with y'all.
Yeah. And if it's not about money and it's more about your boss being a bitch about your vacation days,
which is probably like 60% of the time, you know, this is where far isn't the only vacation. That's when that comes into play. Like we in LA, we have Joshua Tree, Death Valley, Yosemite, Kings Canyon, Sequoia, all these like hikes.
Santa Barbara, Big Bear, Mammoth.
Santa Monica Mountains, Temecula Mountains, or whatever, Malibu Canyons and stuff like that. And I know
there are mountains in Temecula.
Is it Temescal? Temescal.
I was like, it's wine country in Temecula.
Wine and hike. No, Temescal. That's what I meant.
The best, yeah.
Yes. So even in Seattle, where I'm from, there's tons of hiking spots. When I was there, everything is accessible if you do your research. And seriously, if your boss is being a bitch about you taking days off, long weekends or maybe just a day trip are my suggestions. Like you can feel like you're on vacation, that you're getting away, and you come back into work on Monday and feel refreshed, and maybe your boss will not be a bitch to you.
And Trizzy is all about using your vacation days. Use them because you're gonna lose them, you guys. A lot of you don't get paid out for your vacation days. Yeah. Right? And then you lose them if you don't use them. So why not take them? Like you have them for a reason. The culture in America tries to make you feel bad about taking them, but like screw it. Who cares? Take them.
Yeah. Who cares? Look to us. We support it. So that's all that matters.
Yes. We do. If you need that extra support, our DMs are always open. Just slide into the DMs for that extra support.
Exactly. I was reading
an article a few weeks ago, and it was basically about how if you're not taking vacation days, you're basically just paying back your company.
No, take it. Take your vacation days. Yeah.
Some of these big corporations where you're replaceable in a heartbeat. Sorry to say it, but you know, live your life, you guys, because we could be in another pandemic. I mean, I hate to say it. You never know when we can be in another pandemic ever again.
Yeah. I know, and it's sad to say, but that is the realization of what we've been living.
Yep. So our last point was the time is now. Don't take travel for granted. Do what you want to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna
save
go
that
ahead.
money. Oh, like I'm trying to. Let me see. Let me see what I was gonna say. I want to say. I feel like I've been so aggressive during this episode.
No,
But
this
it's like me
this
being
is
very
real. This is a
passionate.
raw us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that's the thing. Like, we're so grateful we've done all of this while people in the pandemic were planning on going in 2020 and they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I did my working holiday visa. I did my year in South America. I've been to Latin America 4 times, you know?
So cool.
So it's we realize the privilege, we realize we're blessed, but it's something that I will like never ever regret. But we all know, I mean, like, I'm the budget backpacker here. Like, I don't really care about stuff half the time. So
I used to, like, spend my money on sneakers. That was my thing. But I want to just, go experience, learn, humble myself. Because we all need to be checked every once in a while. And like, wouldn't you say like the experience of just being able to go and see the place, isn't that just like something in your life that you're just grateful and thankful for?
one of my favorite quotes, and it's actually an Asian proverb: better to see something once than hear about it 1,000 times. My favorite.
Love it. Oh, I love it.
That's gonna be a clip for sure. Okay, I want to recap. So in summary, we had essentially 5 points, because our last point was the same, and we're like, yes, we think the same thing. So number 1, consistency over perfection. The more you do something, the better you're going to get at it, and eventually you'll become your version of perfect at it. Number 2, cushion your releases. Basically having mistake padding, extra time, and allowing yourself that room to make a mistake if needed or change something. Number 3, haters are always going to hate. Haters are always going to be there. I'm not even saying the haters are gone. They're still there. We just know how to deflect and respond,
Yeah.
So haters are going to hate. Just do your thing. Do you.
Yeah.
No one has your voice. Fourth note from Trizzy: far isn't the only vacation. Travel is a mindset for us. Stay close and stay grounded and stay curious, stay adventurous, and
stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. Wear that mask. And last point is the time is now. Don't take traveling or adventuring for granted. Do it now. Not now in the pandemic. Yeah. But once we're out of this, think of what you really want out of life. Where do you want to see? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to meet?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. If you're scared that Disneyland park prices are going to increase, I would say start saving up. Don't buy that Gucci bag. I'm just
You guys, thank you for coming back. Happy 2021. Our first episode 2021.
Happy 2021.
1 year anniversary episode, the 6 things we learned the past year and in our first year of podcasting. We're so happy to have you here. Like we said, our DMs are always open. We love to hear from you guys. And Triz, you want to tell them where we are again?
Yeah, catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Pocket Cast. And we are also a visual podcast on YouTube, so hit that subscribe button. Ticket number 2, Anywhere Podcast. We'll see you there.
Perfect. And then once again, we are all over social media: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. And both of us are each on social media as well. You'll see our names. We dropped them in here. We'll drop them in the show notes. And we hope to speak with you guys soon. If you felt that any of these points resonated with you, whether you're a traveler, whether you're a podcaster, hit us up. Let us know. We love to chat about this. And we'll see you for the next episode.
Thanks, guys.